Good morning. How the devil are you today? How's your weekend been so far? Well, you know what day it is. It's Sunday. It's 10 a.m. So that means it's time for the famous Foxes Aftermath show. Run by the fans, for the fans. Your opinion matters. Get those comments in. Come on, let's get going.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Hope you're well. Yet another weekend without football. Ain't it boring without football? But if you like me and my mate that's coming on in a minute, we like the cricket, it's not been too bad for us. It's pretty damn good. But we're not here to talk about cricket, which is a good job. We talk about football, and it's all about Leicester this week. I'm just going to get a few mornings from everyone that's here. Morning, Matthew. How are you? Neil, how are you? Maz, how are you? Susan, how are you? Yes, I'm well. Thank you, Maz. Stephen, yes, I'm tickety-boo, as they say. Right, I'm going to bring Jake in from talkSPORT. Big Leicester fan. I think he's been on with us before. He loves his Leicester, he does, and he works for talkSPORT. So he's a fan and he's the media. You're from both sides of the wood today, aren't you, Jake?
Yeah, absolutely. Morning, Jamie. Hope you're well, mate. And morning to everyone else watching.
I'm good. I think a few are still in bed at the minute. It could be you and me, the only two up at the morning, but we'll start talking about Leicester. From your fan side of view, what do you think's happened this year? What's gone wrong, or even what's gone right?
I think the list of things that have gone right is probably shorter, isn't it? It's been it's always a strange season. It's never boring, is it, with Leicester? But I think this is the first one in a few years where you kind of sat there thinking this isn't going to plan at all. I think I'd probably, if I had to kind of simplify what went wrong into two things, I'd say that the summer recruitment didn't go well, and then the injuries, and I think ultimately that'll be the reason why Leicester don't finish as high as what we would have hoped to have done at the start of the season. You can blame some of that on Rodgers, and you can have to excuse him on some of that. It's been a strange season and a difficult one at times. I won't lie. I haven't got a huge amount of hope for the league season. I think we've got probably too much to do now to get where we think the squad should be. But I'm going to cling on to the fact that we've still got the FA Cup and we've still got the Europa Conference League. And for me, if we can go deep into one of those competitions, then I'd be happy with that, Jamie. I would be.
See, like you say, you've just mentioned the UEFA Cup. It's not UEFA. It's UEFA Conference League. It's a bit of a mouthful, that is. Europa Conference. Yeah, I don't know much about it myself. And the FA Cup. We're halfway past the season now with the league games, unless we get to them two finals. Would you say if you get to one of them finals and probably 10th place, do you think that's acceptable for Leicester, considering what Brendan Rodgers has said the other day, last week with his interview?
I'd take Brendan's comments out of it for a moment. But for the reasons I've said, with the injuries and the transfers, if we were to reach a final and be mid-table, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be buying the DVD from the club shop about the season. But I think
if you me, VHS, if you me, because I'm old school. It's VHS for me.
I think as far as seasons go, we've had worse ones. And I think for a club like Leicester to get the cup finals or to win a cup, no matter what that cup is, that still to me represents a successful season. I'm aware people will probably disagree with that. But for me, if I have the opportunity to go and watch Leicester in the cup final, whether it be in the Europa Conference League in Europe, so I can't remember where that final is.
It's Albania. Is it Albania or Azerbaijan? One of the two. It begins with an A, doesn't it?
I actually can't remember, but
I think it's Albania. I think. Would you go to Albania, Jake?
Yeah, I would do. I know. I went to Napoli. I'm looking like I'm going to Randers as well. For Leicester fans, these European trips they don't come around too often. And you know, it looks unlikely we'll qualify for Europe next season unless we win the Europa Conference League. So look, if we don't win that cup competition, there's all the likelihood that we maybe don't play in Europe for a couple of seasons, and who knows, maybe even more. So for me, I'm going to soak up every single possible opportunity there is to go watch Leicester away in European football. You know, there are some people that turn their nose up, don't they, at Europa Conference League, and I think if you're Spurs, I think people would probably mock them.
That's a swear word. You're not allowed to say that word on here, Jake. Sorry, I should have told you that before then.
if that lot got to the final, or if they won it, people would probably mock them. But I think if Leicester were to win the cup competition, and bearing in mind there's still teams like, you know, Roma, Fenerbahce, Marseille in there, for me, I think that'd be massive. So that's my positive spin. That I'm hoping that in the FA Cup and the Europa Conference League we can still do something.
There's a comment here. Well, Neil Birchnough has just said, for me, the European Conference gets us into Europa League next year, which it does, doesn't it? Because we're not going to finish 5th, 6th or 7th, are we, this year? Unless we have a run like we had a few years ago when we won 8 games on the bounce. But our league position isn't going to get there. So do you think he should go all guns blazing for it, or do what he has done, a mix of an A team and a B team in it?
Yeah, no, I think right now Leicester's best opportunity to get into European football next season is to win the Europa Conference League. I always get a little bit frustrated with football fans when they talk about, say, for instance, being in the Europa League and seeing that the cherry of or the best thing about the Europa League is that if you win it, you get in the Champions League. It's like, no, if you win the Europa League, you've won a European Cup. That's cherry here, not to get into the Champions League. And yes, a huge bonus if we were to win the Conference League would be that we are back in the Europa League. But for me, the big thing there is we're going to win a European Cup. Yes, it's the lowest one of, but for Leicester City, that would still represent, you know,
but it's the first one, though, isn't it, Jake? It's the first. It's the first European Conference trophy, Europa League Conference trophy. Yeah, our names will be on that trophy every time that trophy's picked up. Exactly, our name's going to be the very first winner, and that'll be remembered forever. It's like a quiz competition in 30 years' time. Who won the very first one? So we'll be there. We'll be on there. So yeah, I'm hoping we do well in Europe. I'm hoping we get a team that I can travel to, because I can't get to Denmark from here quite. It's difficult. I have to get about 3 different connections from here. Yeah. I could fly back to the UK, but I'd love it to be in Seville. Seville love the Europa League, don't they? I think they won it 4 out of 6 years, something like that. It's European competition to win. It'd be the perfect opportunity to get. Yeah. I think you would go on,
and just on, you know, not being able to qualify via the Premier League. Look, I haven't lost complete faith. You know, I think that, and I said this from the start of the season, that Leicester would come on strong in the second half of the season for again 2 main reasons. That the players that we signed, notably Soumare and Daka, it was a new league for them and they're young guys. So they're going to need a bedding in period. And I think they'll improve in the second half of the season. I think we've all been really impressed with Pats and Daka, but I think as a team and those 2 individuals, they will get better. And I also think with the injuries, that will ease, hopefully. Then, you know, James Justin and Wesley Fofana, those 2 players will return. And they will make a massive difference to that Leicester team. I think we've already seen, just with Justin returning, the team already feels more balanced. Now, I know the results haven't directly proven that for the time being, but we're not a million miles away from the top 6 or the top 7, depending on what that position qualifies for the Europa League this season. So hope isn't all lost, but if you look at the quality of the teams left in that Europa Conference League, I do think that represents our best opportunity.
Yeah, Dave Hill has said, I'm going to sort of a roundabout way of my next question. Dave Hill, we need players in as soon as possible. Injuries don't help. Not enough decent players. Our window's been it's been non-existent for Leicester, the transfer window. It finishes tomorrow night at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. I can't remember which one it does. Do you think there's a chance of it happening, or are we going to wait until the summer and look forward to the summer and bringing these players in?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything will happen tomorrow. If something does, it may be a little bit left field and it may be a loan deal. The reality is that Leicester's budget is absolutely maxed out. And unfortunately, with the injury to Fofana, we end up buying Yannick Vestergaard. Now, I'm not going to criticize him as a player, because I don't think I need to. But just talking about that deal in itself, that £15 million that we spent on him, and I believe on around £60,000 a week wages, that was Leicester's buffer. That wasn't budgeted for. That was never the plan to spend that money. So Leicester do have a little bit of money, or they did have a little bit of money, but that's now gone. And now Brendan Rodgers will be looking at it thinking, right, well, Vestergaard isn't part of the long-term plans. Brendan won't say that, but I think that's quite apparent. He's been playing midfielders in his position when he's been fit, and when we've been struggling defensively. So that tells you everything you need to know about how Brendan thinks about Yannick's performances. Ryan Bertrand is very similar. Those two players, he will look to move on. We've got a situation with Johnny Evans now that he can't stay fit. And it's my understanding that the football club have looked at that and thinking, we are going to have to find a replacement for Johnny Evans. And I mentioned this a few weeks ago on Twitter, and I think that people were quite surprised by this, which surprised me. But Shagla SOYUNCU is also a player who wants to leave the football club. And he has been trying to do so for around 18 months, Jamie. So
now, I messaged you that I saw that tweet and I replied to you. Is it him that wants to leave, or is it the agents? All the agents try and flog him to every club. Is it the agent, or is it SOYUNCU that wants to go himself?
Well,
because 18 months ago, SOYUNCU was playing brilliant. Yeah. And then this year, he's just gone down.
Yeah, and the agent will, of course, always have an influence. But the point being is, as far as spending money goes in January, it just means that Brendan Rodgers is now having to think of, right, a short-term option in terms of a loan deal doesn't solve Leicester's problems. He's now needing to potentially replace 3 central defenders. So he's now going to be working on a longer-term plan to bring in the players that he wants in the summer. So spending any money now in terms of a short fix is just it's not the solution. And ultimately, I actually think as well that Leicester's squad is good enough and is big enough. The problem is that the players just haven't been fit. So what's the point in spending 20-30 million pounds on a footballer who then isn't going to be first choice when that other player returns back from injury? So I actually do think the sensible thing to do is not to spend any money in January and just nurture and nurse these players back to fitness. And then when we get to the summer, move on the players that we no longer want, or certainly try to, and then bring in the long-term players. But just going back to SOYUNCU, yes, the agent, he changed his agent around 18 months ago. And, quite often is the case, the agent, how do they make their money? Well, it's either from the player signing a big bumper new contract or from getting him a move. And we know that SOYUNCU's not signed a new contract, and those negotiations have been going on for a long time, and he's about to head into that period where you either sell that player or he signs a new contract. Well, it doesn't look like he's going to sign the new contract. He wanted to leave the football club last summer, but Brendan Rodgers turned around and said, sorry, we can't let you go because Fofana's injured, and so is Johnny Evans.
This summer? I didn't know that. I didn't know you meant this summer. Oh, blimey.
Yeah. He wanted to leave them. And again, you just perhaps have to look at his performances. If you're looking for maybe a reason why his performances have dropped off so much, often the case is because the player is distracted, and he's unsettled. And look, where he ends up, or if he even leaves, we don't know. He could still sign that contract, but the reality of the situation is that he has asked to leave that football club. And if an offer comes in of somewhere between 30 and 40 million pounds, I think the club does the deal. I think it does. So it's
decent money for SOYUNCU, isn't it? Considering how he's been playing this year. Do you think it's a case of we've got to sell before we buy? Have we got to get rid of Yuri? Have we got to get rid of one other to make the money? Because King Power is duty free. And I live in Spain and work in the bar and run a bar, and I need tourists. And if King Power haven't had tourists like they haven't had over the last 18 months, are they losing money? And is that why? So have we got to sell before we buy?
The issue more than anything, Jamie, is the wage bill. Leicester and King Power can find the money. They're not cash rich. But you talk about Tielemans, and then we talk about those defensive issues as well. Irrespective of where you would like the team to strengthen, there's going to be other players that want to leave the club. And as soon as those players leave, you're going to have to replace them. Leicester's wage bill in terms of their turnover to wage bill is the highest in the Premier League. So basically, they spend more money on wages than the football club brings in, and no other Premier League club is at that same level, because the other clubs who spend similar wages to us, obviously the big six, but then it's Everton and West Ham. Everton and West Ham have higher income on match day, on marketing, and on basically kind of global exposure. So Leicester's problem is they can't really afford to spend any more money on wages, and that's the issue. So the squad's probably a little bit too big, so they need to trim that, and they need to go and find some players of equal or better quality who accept less money in wages, and that's very, very difficult.
See, like Stephen Payne just said, if Cagliari don't want to play, get rid. Don't need players that don't want to give 100%. Well, my next question was going to be about Ricky P. Ricky P's on the verge of signing a new contract. Now, surely that's how does he want to? How can he be happy, but others are not happy? Like Tillemans hasn't signed a new contract, SOYUNCU hasn't signed a new contract, but Ricky P wants to sign a new contract. I just sometimes don't understand that with players, that some do and some don't. So I don't know how that works. Ricky P, I mean, I know he's not at the best this year, compared to what he was before his injury, but he's showing signs of it so far. So explain, why does one want to stay and the others don't want to stay?
I can't really answer that one, to be honest. But some players like that, aren't they? You know, and SOYUNCU, say for instance, when he joined the club, it may have always been part of his plan to come to England, play there for a few years, and he may have had this dream to play for another club or playing in another league, and he feels maybe at 25 now's the time to move onto the next challenge. Whereas Ricardo Pereira may look at it and think, right, well, I've played in Portugal, I've played in France. You know, I'm really happy here in Leicester, and because of his injury problems, the problem for Ricky is Ricky now going to get a better move or a better contract if he moves on? He's probably not, is he? And he is pretty happy where he is in Leicester. I mean, I'd actually flip it around, and I'd be a little bit concerned by Leicester signing Ricardo Pereira up for another contract. As much as I love him and as brilliant as he was, the reality is it's probably been nearly 2 years since he was at that level, and Leicester are actually pretty well stocked in the fullback areas with Castagna, Justin, and also Luke Thomas as well. I'm not entirely convinced that it makes a huge amount of business sense signing up Ricardo Pereira for another contract, and I certainly hope or would like to think that it's not on more money than he's currently on.
Yeah. Jono, I have seen you. Just give me 5-10 minutes and then I'll bring you on in a minute, pal. You just mentioned Luke Thomas. Do you think, I mean, Luke Thomas is, what is he, 19 or 20? He's young, isn't he?
He's 20 now, yeah.
He's 20. He must be on the verge of an England call-up, do you think? Or is it a bit young? Is he still a bit young or a bit, not immature, what's the right word? Inexperienced, sorry, to be in the England team. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I won't lie. When Luke Thomas first came into the team, I just looked at him physically and thought, you are a teenager. You look like a teenager.
I think his first game was against Sheffield United, I think it was. And he
played 5 really games. Young. He played 5 games at the back end of the last COVID season behind closed doors, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he did a decent job. He did. He was solid, without pulling up any trees. But what you usually find is that when a teenager breaks through into a first team in a Premier League level, it's because they have physically developed significantly more than players of their age. But Luke Thomas isn't one of them. He very much still looks like a teenager. So I think at first he came in and did a solid job. But if I was completely honest, I didn't really see long term him, hitting the heights that he has done now. I think this season he's pushed on Jamie to really, really impressive levels. And what I like most about him is that he really steps up in the big games. Now, if you talk about the goal he scored at Old Trafford last season, if you talk about the game he played at Anfield this year in the Cup, and also the FA Cup final as well, this is a kid who clearly relishes playing in those big games, and he is maturing. And I've been really, really impressed by him. Now, do I think he's good enough to play for England right now? In short, no, I don't think he is. I think actually, if Gareth Southgate is looking to bring a left back into the England squad, what he should be doing is bringing James Justin in, because we know that he looked at him before his injury. I think if he's looking at bringing a new player in because Chilwell's injured and Luke Shaw is not playing.
Reece James injured as well.
He is, yeah.
Yes.
So for me, what I'd do is I'd bring James Justin into the squad and say to Luke Thomas, mate, if you carry on like you are, keep developing. I'm watching you. Then potentially we could look at you being an England player. But for me, actually, because there was an article which went around, wasn't it? I can't remember from which journalist announcing that Luke Thomas was being looked at by Gareth Southgate. But it was after the game where James Justin made his return, and Gareth Southgate was there watching. And I'm thinking, actually, I think the story should have been Gareth Southgate watching James Justin as opposed to Luke Thomas.
I think you're right. I think he came to see him. To see JJ to see how fit he was. And to be honest, most people, when they come back from injuries, they struggle, don't they? They don't really get up to speed straight away. But JJ seems to have did the trick straight away. He came out against Spurs, played half an hour. I thought, half an hour against Spurs, that could be a bit demoralising for him. But he played just like the same then he played against Brighton. I know he was called out of position twice, for one goal against Spurs and one goal the only goal against Brighton. But that's probably just ring rust, isn't it? He's not quite got the right positions. But in going forward, his tackling, he wasn't afraid to tackle, even though he had a dodgy knee. I mean, my knees are dodgy. I wouldn't want to go in some of them tackles full-blooded like he was doing. So I think JJ is one of the few players that has come back. Not quite full pelt yet, but at least somewhere near where he was, which is unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I was really impressed in terms of how he's looked physically. And also very surprised that Brendan made him play 90 minutes against Brighton. I think he should be being eased back into things a little bit more gently when you consider the amount of injuries we've got. We've been waiting a long time for him to come back. The last thing we need is for situations like we've had with Ricardo Pereira, where he just keeps on picking up niggling injuries because he had the same injury. I mean, look, James Justin may be 100% fit, and I may be doing Brendan Rodgers a disservice. But I think he should be being eased in a little bit more gently. And when he started against Brighton, I thought, well, the sensible thing here to do is to give him 45 minutes and then bring him off. And then he made a sub about 55 minutes. And I think it was all Brighton coming on. We could see him coming on. I'm thinking, well, he's coming on at right back for James Justin. Yeah. He didn't come on at right back for James Justin. And Justin played the full 90 minutes. And he was at fault? Well, it was his man who scored the head. I don't want him to be rushed back in because I think he's vitally important to us because I think he's a superb player.
Well, they've had 2 weeks off. They've got Forest. Well, that's 2 questions. So I know you've got to go in a bit. Notts Forest away. Come on, you must be getting excited. A local derby, Notts Forest. Who doesn't want to play your local rivals in a cup game? A full house. That Forest don't often sell out at all. Forest normally struggles to sell out. They played Derby the other week and it took them, I think, 10 weeks before they sold out. It took us 12 days before they sold out. So they must be looking forward to us. Are you looking forward to it, Jake, as much as most Leicester fans are?
I would have been looking forward to it more, Jamie, if I'd managed to get a ticket.
Well, there was big uproar about tickets, wasn't there? Yeah, we won't go that far. We won't go into that story.
We could speculate. Rumours. I'm sure lots of people have seen them. But yeah, I was one of the many season ticket holders who get a ticket. So no, I am very much excited by it. Gutted I can't be there. I really am genuinely gutted.
Can't you do it for work? Put your hand up. I'm free.
Yeah. Luckily, our football editor at talkSPORT is a Leicester fan. And he's helped me out before, so it's an option, sure. But I don't really want to be that guy who asks me
do us a favour, mate. Do us a favour.
Exactly. And also, I'd much rather be in the away end with all you guys for sure. But look, I'm glad I can't be there. But the game's brilliant, and it really is. And from a purely football perspective, because it was Arsenal or Forest, wasn't it, when the FA Cup draw was made? And it was a bit of a oh God, don't really want.
Now, who did you want to win that day when you knew that it was Arsenal or Forest we were playing? Were you going for Forest to win so we could play, or did you fancy Did you think, it's going to be Arsenal? I'm not even thinking about it.
No, I wanted Forest for 2 reasons. First of all, because it's Forest. And we haven't played them in years and years. And secondly, because I think it's an easier game, and I'm looking at it thinking, I want to do well in this cup competition, and I want to go really deep in it. So I think if we'd been playing Arsenal in that round, I wouldn't have been hugely confident of progressing. But to play your rivals and get an easier game, it's win-win, isn't it?
I mean, I said some of the content team.
Unless you lose, obviously.
Well, yeah. Some of the content team said, "Oh, yeah, I want Liverpool. I want Man U in the next round." And I says, "Why do you want that? Yes, you want it as easy as possible, don't you? That's the thing. Sure. You want it as easy as possible to get through. Play one of the big boys. I mean, last year I think we played nearly every round was a.
We had United in the quarters, Southampton semis, and obviously Chelsea in the final.
And then you had Brentford just before that were coming up, weren't they? So they were near enough
in the third round.
So yeah. So Brighton, we played Brighton as well, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
so,
with that dreadful game, freezing cold. With the header right at the very end, which saved us all from extra time.
I wasn't cold. I was quite warm. Yeah, I was still in Spain, wasn't I? So
I remember Iheanacho's post-match press conference. They basically asked him, about the goal. He just basically said, "Well, thank God I scored because we're all so bloody cold. We just want to go home."
Yeah.
Like, even the Brighton fans were happy Iheanacho scored because they just wanted to go home.
They did, didn't they? They did. Last thing you mentioned earlier on about money and revenue, stadium expansion. That's just been two of the first two parts. There it is. That's what the final thing will look like. The two of the parts, they're allowed to demolish the national grid next door, or Empower National Grid. The national grid buildings can be demolished. Yeah. So the work's going to be started. Do you think it's right to do it now? Make it up to 40,000. I know it's not going to be for a couple more years, but do you think that's right? 40,000, or do you think they should bang a load more seats in somehow?
It's difficult, isn't it? I think 40,000 is probably a good number. I mean, if you look at clubs like Everton and Chelsea, etc., they're big football clubs, and that number's about okay for them. Leicester as a city is significantly smaller. It is, whilst there is part of me thinking, right, well, if you're going to do an extension, you might as well make it massive because it saves us then potentially having to do it again in another 10, 15 years. I think if you look at what we've done with the training ground, and if you look at these plans for the stadium, it's exactly the direction the club should be moving in. And I think that the training ground is probably more important to the club, in terms of keeping players and wanting players to join. That's where they spend 90% of their time. So I think you spend the most money there, and that will have them set now for however many years. And I think 40,000 Leicester as a football club, I can't see Leicester regularly, Jamie, week on, week out, getting more than 45,000. So for me, I think that's the right number.
Patrick said it'd be interesting parking on match days. It's bad enough as it is now, let alone another 8,000 on top of that. But I think we needed to boost it. Like you say, I think it'll only be the really big games, won't it, that will get the full houses. You'll probably get 36, 37,000 week in, week out. That extra revenue on shirt sales, programs, food, drink, it's all going to help the club no matter what, isn't it? So it's great. Right then, Jake, it's been much appreciated you coming on. I know you've got to rush off to do another job. You are a busy man at the minute, aren't you? You really are a busy man.
Yeah, I am. But Jamie, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'd much rather be getting the work than not being booked for anything. So on to my next and on to my next sport as well today, which is about
you're a bit of an all-rounder, aren't you, at the minute? I mean, you like the cricket, you like the football, and your job this afternoon is tell everyone your new job, what you've got.
I work for the London Broncos, their rugby league. So I'm the stadium announcer. I'm doing all that this afternoon. And they've just moved, right? They're now playing at Wimbledon's Plough Lane, the new beautiful stadium there. So it's their first ever game in the stadium today. So it's a big day. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm getting suited and booted. Because
they're not in the Super League anymore, are they?
No, so they're the championship, so one league below. Yeah. But they're playing the Widnes Vikings today, which they're a huge team, aren't they, in rugby league? So
they used to be in the 70s and 80s when I was growing up. Yeah. Saturday afternoon on Grandstand might have been a bit before your time, Jake, but Saturday afternoons. All right then, Jake, it's been much appreciated. Thanks for joining us. And quickly, I know it's a bit early. Your score on the Forest game. Come on, quick score, a week early.
3-0 Leicester.
Come on, you foxes. You've heard it here. All right then, Jake. Cheers, mate. Enjoy your job this afternoon. See you later. Thanks a lot, pal. There was Jake. Much appreciated, Jake. Thank you. Right. I'm going to bring in Jono and Reedy for a quick few minutes chat about Leicester. Weren't he a good lad talking about Leicester? He knows his stuff, doesn't he? Old Jake does, doesn't it? Pretty damn good. Puts us to shame, doesn't he, lads?
Tried to shoot me in the foot as well, didn't you?
What do you mean trying to shoot you in the foot? Why?
Oh, the lads want Liverpool, Arsenal, all that good stuff.
Oh, that was you, wasn't it? Yes, that was you. Right. We didn't really talk about transfers with him. I was leaving it for you two. Jesse Lingard. what do you think? Yes or no? Because it's been touted yet again. Like Jake says, we haven't got the money. The money that Man U were trying to sell him to Newcastle for. Oh, I can't get that photo off now. There we go.
It's a sign.
You are? Hold on.
It's a sign to have him.
It is a sign to have him. Maybe not him. But what do you think, Reedy?
No,
Lingard, he's shaking his head already.
no.
What he did for West Ham, how he changed their season.
I know
around.
that, but the things you've got the likes of Dewsbury, you've got the likes of Madison. Yes, they might leave, but if they do leave, that's when you change up. You don't buy someone now, hope ready for when someone leaves. I don't think anyway. And I don't think
we bought Dakar. We bought Dakar ready for Vardy when he leaves.
But I think that's inevitable. I think we needed a new striker either way. I don't think we need a new attacker at the moment.
Oh, your mate's not agreeing with you there. Facebook user, whoever the Facebook user is, morning. The only thing we need is a short-term centre back. Yes, I agree with that. Jono, 36. I think it's roughly 36 hours left. Are we going to do anything? Do you think?
No, we're not the club that does January transfers. We don't really delve into that sort of stuff. And I kind of agree with Jake by, like, I don't see the point of splashing out 30 or 40 million on a player who knows when Fofana's back or another player's back from injury that they're just going to be on the sideline. I'd rather get a loan for 6 months and try and get them just to be at the club for 6 months with, and then when the players fit, when the players are fit, they can come back in. But we have got the squad depth, but they're mostly injured. I just think we need to hold back on our money and wait until we sell a few players in the summer and get some big players in.
You say that, Jono, though. But for me now, obviously AFCON boys are back. Most of the injured boys are back. Yes, you've got the likes of Fofana, Vardy, Pereira. Other than them 3 or 4 players, maybe Evans as well, I'll include him so no one moans at me. Other than that, we don't have many people out. For me, I don't.
We've got 6. We've got 6.
I don't think we can give excuses for injuries and that lot anymore. We've got Indeed back. We've got most of the defence back, other than Fofana and Evans, but most of our fullbacks are back. We're going into the Forest game. If we lose that, I'm just saying we can't give excuses, safeties and all that.
After this break, we should go organs blazing because we're struggling to stay in the top half of the table. We're not in the EFL Cup, so I think we should just go organs blazing.
Yeah. Talking of FA Cup, the under-18s got through to the quarterfinals with a 5-1 win against Bournemouth on Friday night, and they play either Man U or Everton in the next round in the quarterfinals of the Cup. I mean, did you see that goal by Alves? By Will Alves?
No, but I'll have a look.
No.
Absolutely stunning goal. He got the ball and he cut in. He didn't cut in like normal cutting. He backheeled it behind him and beat 2 players and curled it in. It was an absolutely cracking, stunning performance it was. I think that Will Alves will be a quality player. I think he needs a loan first, to be honest, because he looks a bit young in that photo there. But we're going well. The youngsters are doing well, aren't they? The young guns are helping us out at the minute. Talking of young guns, do you know what happened 10 years ago to the day? No. This might give you a clue. Hold on. Big Wes signed. 10 years ago to the day.
Oh, God.
323 appearances later, he won the FA Cup. He's won the Premier League. He's a legend for the club. And we play Notts Forest next week. Jono, where do you think his loyalties lie? Next week?
Leicester. He has to be at Leicester. He's not a Forest legend. He's a Leicester legend. He's won all his major trophies at Leicester. He's got a bottle of Captain Morgan Spice with his face on it. He with his Leicester kit on. So, to be honest, I think he'll go. I can't lose because if Leicester win, I'm buzzing. If Forest win, it's Forest, isn't it? So, but
He'll probably be there.
As the boss says, Wesley Morgan is a blue, is a blue, is a blue. Wesley Morgan is a blue. He hates Forest. That's my karaoke song, that is. Big Wes, it bound to be. Big Wes is bound to be on the TV, isn't he? He has to be on BBC One. There's no other. He'll be there. But just a quick before we go, the score. I know I asked Jake. He said 3-0, didn't he? I know it's a week and a lot can change in a week. But come on then, lads. What do you think to the score? Come on.
3-2.
No replays. So straight to penalties.
3-2 Forest.
Oh, Jono, is that your Geordie mates forcing you to say that? You've been tied up.
How are we going to keep a clean sheet? We can't keep a clean sheet against people in the Europa League. And Forest proved against Arsenal they're not a team to take lightly. They're a quality team. In a cup game, they're
to be fair to them, I've got to give it to, I don't know. I don't think Forest were that good in that game. Arsenal were just terrible. For me, they just were pretty bad.
I've been saying all season, prove me wrong. I'm negative. I'm being negative. I don't think our performances recently have been so poor. Prove me wrong. I want everyone to say, "Oh, you're talking rubbish, Jono."
Makes a change you being negative and not ready for once, Jono.
I'm never negative.
Prove me wrong. 3-2 to Forest, but I hope they prove me wrong. But I'm saying 3-2 Forest.
John Gray Richardson. Jono has upset the boss. Phil, negative, Jono. You could be. It's usually Reedy getting the sacking on the Monday morning. Could be Jono getting the sack this time. Go on then, Reedy. Your score. Come on, quickly.
2-1. I think 2-1.
To Leicester.
We're not going to concede. But the thing is, as long as we're tight at the back, for me, like I've said to you again, was it the Brighton game on the way home? I said, being attackive is our best form of defence. If we stay attackive and we try and get the goals in, we'll be fine at the back.
But can I just say, I don't know if anyone's picked up on it recently, but we've been a lot better at set pieces, defending set pieces.
We have been. Yes, we have. There's no, I think it's 4 games, is it, that we haven't conceded from a set piece?
Which is rare. We often averagely concede 1 per game. So
I think Spurs had 12 corners, didn't they? Or was it Brighton had 12 corners? I can't remember. One of the 2 games.
Arsenal,
12 corners.
We look on a lot of corners as well. We defend all of them.
Yeah.
So we've done really well.
It's definitely changed. Get Jono off. Secret fire.
Let's just say we would have conceded against Brighton if it weren't for Yuri on the post.
Yes. Yeah. Well, but we did concede against Brighton already, though, didn't we?
Yeah, you know what I mean? That we could have lost to them.
Yes.
That was the case.
Yes. We now, like Phil says, we now have we now put defenders on the post from corners. Rogers has been watching us. Yes. I've been saying about zonal marking for donkey's years. So if you're watching, Brendan, keep listening, pal. Glad you
prove me wrong, Brendan. Prove me wrong.
Prove Jono wrong. You were proving me wrong after the Liverpool game, and then it's gone back to normal. So I'm still on that side of the fence, unfortunately.
Prove me wrong.
Still being proved wrong.
3-2 to Forest.
Wrong question. Neil says, main thing is now we have a player on the back post, so obviously no implemented until recent. Yes, that has changed, a big thing. LCFC Gray can't see handling Maddison. We'll talk about Luke Thomas having a call-up. Do you think Maddison deserves a call-up now? Has he been playing well enough? Do you think he's above Mason Mount? And
I think he's too injury-prone.
He's done well. He's done well. Like I said, the Liverpool game, he did well to stop someone like Salah. But every time I see him on the team sheet, I just think he's got an error in him. Or he's just got something, because he's so young and unexperienced. He thought he might do something wrong. So I don't think he's ready yet. A few more years and I think he might be ready.
Jono, yes, no. England, maybe. If it matters, is he playing well enough? Does he deserve it?
You've got... He is a quality player, but in you look at the England squad, you've got Declan Rice ahead of him. You've got... who else is ahead of him?
Mason Mount.
You've got, Champions League winners. You've got, Declan Rice in a team that's chasing for Europe. And they're quality players. I can't see Maddison going ahead of them for a while, so we'll have to wait and see. But he is quality at the moment. He has been.
Right then, lads. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. It's been much appreciated. We'll let you get back to whatever you're doing today, and we'll see you through the week. Maybe, Jono, are you going to do the watch along to see if you can prove Brendan wrong next week on Sunday afternoon? Is it there? Is it in your locker for next Sunday afternoon?
What day is the game?
Sunday afternoon at 4:00 kickoff.
I'm not working.
You're not working. There you go. Let's prove Jono wrong next
Prove
Sunday,
me wrong, Brendan.
Sunday afternoon.
If Vestergaard plays, then I'll be proven right. If Vestergaard and Bertrand play, just saying.
Just as you said that, Neil Birchnough has said loan Vestergaard to Forest for the game. That would be brilliant. That would, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that'd be brilliant. Right then, we shall see you next week. Jono, thanks for joining. Cheers, matey. See you later, Reedy. Much appreciated. You know I love you coming on a Sunday morning, see whether you get up in time or not. It's been much appreciated. And you made it, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Mark Lowe from Australia. Cheers for staying. Well, it's not quite staying up time yet there, is it? But cheers for watching from down under. Let's prove Jono wrong. So it's Phil live next Monday. Yes, the watch along will be live next week. Are you going? You got your tickets, haven't you, Reedy?
I've got my ticket here.
Yes. He's not. It's not who's ahead of Madison. It's the fact that he doesn't play. Yes, correct. Right then, Reedy, I'll see you next week, pal, sometime. Well, you won't see me personally, but you'll see me on here sometime.
Yes.
See you later, pal. Right then, thanks for joining me. Jake Watson from talkSPORT, absolutely fantastic. Much appreciated him joining me. The lads, Reedy and Jono, much appreciated. Hope to see you. Well, not hope to see you. I will be here next week. So it's ciao, ciao, adios, goodbye, top of the morning. Come on, you foxes.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.